Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Eric Rohr, and I've been a wedding photographer for the last 3.5 years. We're here today to talk about 5 things that will help you grow your photography, grow your skill, grow your career, perhaps. But let's jump right in. Make sure you guys stick around till the end. I'm going to be throwing in an extra tip just for you guys. So the first thing that I want to share with you, it's a little obvious when you think about it, but kind of not obvious when you don't think about it. But let's jump in. So the first thing that I want to talk to you guys about is the concept of being deliberate. I think when we're exploring new arts and new passions, we kind of, the things tend to fall to the side a little bit. So for example, let's say we're discussing photography, you'll go to the grocery store, you'll go to the gym, whatever it is, and kind of along the way you'll be like, oh yeah, that's a cool plant, that's a cool bird, and you'll like snap a pic. And it's not a deliberate move to go and practice photography. It's not conscious, it's not mindful. And that's kind of the concept that I'm sharing with you guys is when you're going and you're learning a new skill and you're working on something, be deliberate in your passion, be deliberate in learning it. So schedule time, like block out, let's say, an hour of your day, let's say 2 times a week, 3 times a week, however hard you want to go, and go out and be like, okay, this hour from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m., I'm going to go out and I'm going to take photos. I'm going to bring my camera, my phone, whatever you're using, and be deliberate and go and consciously create. Don't passively create. Okay, so moving on to tip number 2, I think when we're discovering a new passion or a new hobby, perhaps you're even pursuing photography as a career, but I think when we're doing those things, we spend time, going and doing those things, taking pictures, taking videos, learning our camera. But do we really spend time sitting down and hitting the books? Do we spend time learning? There's so much available content on the internet, especially here on YouTube. And I think it's really important to go and learn all these topics. Learn how to use Lightroom, learn how to use Photoshop, press all the buttons on your camera, push things, see what happens. Okay, what happens if I do this? What happens if I change this? But if I change that and I change this, then what will happen? Go and explore and spend time, invest time in learning, and invest time in learning, but also like study it and understand the fundamentals. Don't just be like, okay, yeah, okay, I got it, next. Like, no, go study and then repeat, learn, loop it, learn it again, loop it, practice it. Go and spend time studying things. Another great way to get good at photography is to connect with other photographers, connect with other like-minded photographers, other like-minded cinematographers, and reach out to them. You have Instagram, you have Facebook, there's so many social platforms where you can connect with other people. So go reach out to these other people and ask them questions. Be like, hey man, I love your work, would love to learn how you got started, whatever it is, kind of like almost like interview them. And you can really learn so much, and you can like, hey man, I ran into this problem, I don't know how to fix it, can you help me out? Like, that's even how I got started. Like, I bumped into a buddy of mine at an event, and he had his camera and he was taking pictures, and I asked him, I'm like, hey, what's up, what are you up to? Are you a photographer these days? And he tells me like, yeah, I got started with this WhatsApp chat, and I ended up getting added to the chat, and it's basically this group of photographers where we just kind of like share ideas and how to run our businesses, gear, recommendations, different things. There's so many things we talk about on there, and to this day, like, I'm still on there, and it's incredible, and it's literally built my career. But that chat led me to assisting my first ever wedding. I connected with this dude on there, and I assisted him on a wedding, and it just kind of took off from there, and we worked together for, I think it was like 2 years. But that's kind of my point. Like, go and connect with other people, perhaps even like go assist, go work on a job, maybe even for free. But you can learn so much that way, and it's such a great way to improve your photography. Okay, so moving on to number 3. This one I think is a little overlooked, and maybe overlooked is the wrong word, but I think it's not such a common practice. I think the typical way a photographer's workflow goes, if like you're a working professional photographer, is like you'll have your discovery call, you'll set up the shoot, you'll go and shoot, you'll upload the images to a folder, you'll edit the images, put it on a gallery, send it to the client, you get paid, and that's pretty much it. And don't get me wrong, I think a workflow like that is solid. Like, everyone does that. However, especially when you're starting out, I think it's really important to keep a gallery, not for your clients, not one that you're going to send to your clients, but keep a gallery of your own personal favorite images. I do that with my own life and my personal images. So if, let's say, I take a picture of one of my nieces or nephews, or, you know, my dog or whatever it is. I don't know why I said dog. I don't have a dog. My neighbor has a dog that I see all the time. But if I take a picture of something like that, I go and then I put that in this specific gallery, and I just call it my life. And I have like a tab, let's say 2023, we just finished that. So I have all my images that I took from 2023 in that tab. And sooner or later, I'm going to start a 2024 tab. And you can do this with your professional work as well. And I think it's a very powerful exercise. Is if, let's say, you're starting out, and let's say today, as you're watching this, you have your first job, and you go and take, let's say, 5 images. Let's say you take 1,000 images at the whole event, and of those 1,000 images, 5 you're like, I love those photos. Those are amazing. Go take those 5 images and put them in this gallery. And over time, these images will accumulate, and you'll be able to see your progress and track it. And I think it's really powerful when you can document your life, but also document your progress. I think we get so caught up in this moment, and we don't like, whoa, look how far I've come. Like, and it's a really cool way to improve, because you're like, oh, I did that thing last time, let me go do this new thing this time, you know? And I think just, yeah, simply put, like, keep track of your progress, document your life, and yeah. Okay, so if you guys are finding this video remotely helpful and you want to show some appreciation, so show some love, if you can hit that like button, it's that thing that looks like this right down below. It'd be really helpful, and it just helps us out and helps us grow and expand. Doesn't cost you anything, but we really appreciate it. So yeah. Okay, so moving on to number 5. Let's go. Okay, so here's tip number 5, and this one kind of took me a while to learn, but I think it's something that's so worth it, and kind of I wish that someone explained it to me when I got started. I think as artists, we kind of pride ourselves in being different and being unique, and kind of keeping the learning and growth process kind of within ourselves and within our close, intimate network. So our best friend, a spouse, a partner, whoever it is. And we kind of like only receive feedback from those people, or those are the only people we want to, get feedback from. And I think it's really important that when you're starting out, don't be afraid of feedback. And this took me so long to realize, but when you go and, let's say, when you go and interact with a client and you show them the back of the camera on the shoot, and they'll be like, oh, I like that, I don't like this, I love that. You can ask them questions, something along the lines of, let's say, oh, what particular element of the photo don't you like? Is it you don't like the way you look? Are you not feeling confident? Is it the lighting? Is it the composition? Is it the colors? There are specific questions you can ask a model, you can ask a subject, you can ask a client, and be like, hey, what do you think? What can I do to improve? And I kind of came up with this like phrase. It's not even so much as a phrase, but like, all feedback is good feedback. And if you're able to accept critique and, just feedback in general, I think you'll learn to embrace the process of kind of like being lousy in the beginning and getting better at it and improving, but also you won't feel that like, oh my God, I'm an imposter, I don't know what to do. And I think it's really important that you learn to get feedback from everywhere you can. Like, at the end of the day, yes, I get that getting feedback, to your face, and someone being like, oh my God, these images suck, how could you? And like, I think that's all of our fears, worst case scenario that can happen on a shoot, and be like, oh my God, you suck. And like, I don't think anyone's ever said that to a photographer. Like, no client has ever said that to a photographer. But I think I get it. Like, it is scary. But I think if you can get comfortable with, positive feedback, with good feedback, and just, even if what the person is telling you is not good, but just getting comfortable with that concept, I think it's an extremely powerful tool to have in your camera bag, Okay, so that was 5 tips, guys. Let's recap. Let's go through this real quick. So number 1, we had be deliberate, kind of like go and do the thing you need to do. Number 2, spend time learning your craft. Number 3, connect with people, reach out to other photographers, ask them questions. They ask you questions, just connect with other people. Number 4, guys, keep track of your progress. Document your life, document your growth. And number 5, guys, don't be afraid of feedback. Feedback is everything. It'll help you grow so much. Okay, guys, so as promised, bonus tip number 6. I think, and this is kind of related to number 5, but I think that in the world where we're constantly getting feedback, And maybe you're not, but in the world where we have social media, things like Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok, the list goes on and on. We can get very caught up in the mindless scrolling and essentially get our feedback that way. And we're like, oh my God, check out this amazing artist, Peter McKinnon. And like, how am I ever going to get there? And we go and we endlessly scroll, and we compare ourselves to other, and we rob ourselves of the joy and the journey that is to go and, be pretty lousy in the beginning and go and get better and improve. And I think it's kind of like, I think Instagram and social media in general, like, I think it's kind of like a double-edged sword. Like, it can be a great place of inspiration. You can see lots of cool things, but it can also rob you of your creativity. And this is kind of like a little more of like a life hack than a tip that I came up with. But basically, delete social media off of your phone and keep it on something, let's say like an iPad or a computer, where when you go onto these platforms, you're like, okay, I have a shoot coming up. I have a wedding coming up that I'm shooting. Go onto the platforms when you're going on mindfully and you have a reason to go, right? So you're like, okay, I'm shooting a wedding tomorrow. I need some inspiration. I need some, bride portrait photo inspiration. Let me go on and get some inspiration. But when you're kind of just like going about your day and you're at the gym, waiting online at the grocery store, and you're just mindlessly scrolling, I think that notion of comparing yourself to others can really creep up on you and kind of just like make you feel de-inspired, if that's a word. But I don't think it's so healthy and so important to be on social media all the time. And I know that sounds a little cliche and a little cringe, but I found that once I took social media off of my phone and I wasn't mindlessly scrolling for hours on end every day, I found myself given the freedom to just go and create and not listen or not think that other people are gonna be like, oh, what about that? And you're like, no, I'm just doing my thing. Like, when you go on, just be mindful about it. So guys, that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching. And if you found value in this video, consider hitting the like button. If you want to see more videos like this in the future, consider hitting the subscribe button. Those things do help us out, contrary to popular belief. I know everyone kind of says that in their videos, but it is important, and it does help the channel grow and helps the growth. So consider, all up to you at the end of the day, no worries. But guys, that's it for me. Peace out. I will see you next time.